I'm Johnny, and I'm going to quickly demonstrate how you can use a simple tool like Microsoft Excel to do a quick app design mockup. Now here I'm going to start the stopwatch just so you can see how fast you could really do a mockup in Excel. Contrary to popular belief, you don't need the most expensive tools out there. You can use something like Excel. So I'm going to open up a blank document here. I'm going to save it into one of my folders just so that you can constantly save it. Just good practice of design. I'm actually going to start in row 3 here just to give it a couple of rows padding at the top as well as a column to the left. And that's just because we are restricted a little bit with Excel's canvas there. And Excel is really not known or supposed to be used to do some of this design stuff, so we will run into a couple of those challenges here. So one is just getting your pixel dimensions right. So I am going to just do a rough canvas of 400 by 650, but you can play with it here by just dragging the column and rows, and it'll show you the pixels to the left there or to the right. So that's really simple. That's really easy to do. So once you get your canvas, I'm just going to probably design something really easy just for this demonstration, sort of like an app home screen with some information on there. So I'm going to kind of just pick an image I already have, and this is of a cityscape, and it's Raleigh, Durham, or it's Raleigh. And I'm just going to just start cropping it a little bit just to kind of fit it into that space. Now there's really no method to this madness. It's most of plug and chug and kind of learn by fire. You are using a tool that's really not meant for this, so just trying to work around with what they give you. I'm just going to crop that edge there to the end of that cell. And then I'm going to apply a quick blur effect there. And these are one of the default standard ones. I'm also going to change the color just a tad. I'm going to just correct it there by adding a little more brightness to it, just because it is a darker image to begin with. So I want it to pop just a bit. Now the standard blur there, as you can tell, is quite blurry. So I'm going to try to go into this panel on the right here and change that radius down to a 6 or so. And it defaults to 10. And that allows it to kind of just come through a little bit clearer. Now what I'm thinking is I'm going to do some color overlays on top of this image, and the quickest way is to just insert a shape here. I just chose a random color, and I also removed the outline. So most of the stuff in Excel defaults with an outline, so just be cautious that you will have to remove the outline on most of your assets that you've added. Now I'm going to just choose a random purple color there. I made it a little darker and then added some transparency so it comes through. What I'm doing here is just a really quick copy paste keyboard shortcut, which is holding the control button as you click on something and drag it. And what I did was I just pulled that transparency down, changed the color to a darker blue, and then up the transparency or reduced it so that you could see more of it at the bottom there. Now I'm going to just sketch out a couple of different lines. I'm making them white so they pop, and then I'm also increasing the weight. So I'm thinking about doing 3 rows here at the bottom, maybe some information that the user can click on. And then because I'm doing horizontal lines, I'll go ahead and do a hamburger menu there at the top left, which is pretty standard to most apps nowadays. Again, there's no spacing or measurement I'm doing here. I'm just kind of just quickly dragging assets down using that hotkey control for copy and pasting. Now there's one more line. I'm thinking maybe I could do 2 buttons there in the center, and that should complete it. So again, just changing that to white and then upping that line work to 1 there so it pops a little bit better. So while I'm sketching out some shapes, I'll go ahead and make the search bar. I know there's going to be some sort of search bar at the top. I do want it to line up with my hamburger menu there, so just making sure I keep the same height and removing the line, the outline, and filling it in with white, and then putting some transparency to it so it does kind of fade a little bit more to the background. Now the simplest way to add text is to just insert text. So that's what I'm doing here. You could do something where you type within the object, but then you can't really have control over the transparency of the text as well as the background. So just removing the fill there as well as the outline or the stroke, which is standard, to just adding that text box. So adding in the search bar and you're kind of done. That's a very simple, straightforward search bar. And just copying the text back down, fastest way to copy and paste. Making sure it's centered. And then just replacing the text. So I'm going to do some sort of current location where it's tracking where you are, and then gives you maybe some information based off of where you are. So maybe that's the idea for this app. Just going to change it to Franklin Gothic here, and you can play with the different fonts. They're mostly placeholder. And then holding down Control again on the keyboard and dragging, I get to copy it. Now I use the up and down sizing arrows quite a bit, especially in Excel, because you're just looking for spacing. You're not going for an exact point size here. So those are extremely helpful to just get an idea of how large it fits in that space. Just doing a Control again, dragging down. I think I'm going to put the weather on this row. So current temperature, lovely 76 degrees, just adding the degree sign there by adding the symbol. And then maybe plotting it there on the left side. So it looks a little small, so I'm just going to pump it up just a bit. Now here, I'm tweaking the spacing a little bit. You don't have to. So I'm going to try to center it here, top to bottom. And then again, just quickly copy and pasting those labels. And what this also does is it keeps the same font consistent across your app if you're kind of just copy and pasting the same labels over and over again. So I think I'm going to do a trending section, maybe some news or something in that area, and then an about section, and then maybe this one at the bottom is kind of like a social button, so maybe inviting friends of some sort. Not sure yet, kind of just feeling out the design. So for the weather, let's, maybe give a forecast for the next few days. Probably want it a little bit smaller. I'm thinking I could do a symbol or something above it. I'm going to be tight on space here, so I'm going to just use the first 3 letters here of each day. All right, and then finish it off with Saturday and Sunday. I think 4 is pretty good. As you can tell, I'm just visually spacing this stuff out. I'm not mathematically doing it, or I'm not doing it by pixels. That's not the purpose of using a tool like Excel or PowerPoint for that matter. So that looks pretty good. And then in the center section, I think I'm going to add 3 kind of active buttons, and just maybe throwing some color onto it. I'll choose this teal, getting rid of the outline. And then again, clicking and dragging them across, copies them over, and then just applying a different color for these last 2 here, and just maybe using default blue. Yeah, that should work. Size them just so they fit a little bit better. And you got to remember, with touch, you should have objects a little more spaced out, so there is some room there for error when you do touch it. Going to copy these labels down. Maybe that one's a stay of some sort. Maybe this one's an eat. This one's something play or things to do, entertainment. So just a time check there. 9 minutes, 14 seconds have passed. And we've gotten pretty much most of the design done. It's just now we're adding in the icons. So Microsoft has built in this icon library by default in one of the later releases or updates. So I'm just clicking the icon library that Microsoft already has, and this is the same library in PowerPoint. I haven't checked Word, but I'm assuming it's going to be in Word as well. So just going down here thinking what icons I'm going to use. I found my about one. There's my eat. Oh, there's the weather. So that's perfect for me. Okay, maybe not thunderstorm. Let's do droplets instead. There's my location one. That was really key. And there's a pretty good assortment down here. And, again, this is just for a baseline. So if you had to go back in there and wanted to redo your own icon or create your own, this is a good placeholder until then. So maybe I do a settings one as well. So what happens is that once you insert them all, they're all going to be selected. So you could size them all at once like I'm doing now. That saves a lot of time and also keeps them all the same size. So that's definitely a huge benefit. I'll also change them all to white while they're all selected. And by doing so, I kind of just drag them over to something colored so I don't lose them on this white canvas. So that's also good practice. Now I'm just kind of sort these. I think location is going to be at the top there. Let's make Thursday rainy. Sunday has a little bit of sun. Maybe it's a cloudy Saturday, but hey, bring some sun back onto Friday. There's my E icon. There's my about, my play, trending. That was pretty key. I didn't know they would have something like that, and maybe that's my invite friends icon for now until I want to, do something different. But for the most part, it's been 11 minutes and 30 seconds since I've opened up this Excel spreadsheet, and you have the nuts and bolts and basically your entire homepage design kind of just already mocked up here. So this is just to illustrate how fast you can do something in a simple tool like Excel. So when someone says you need, the best programs or the most expensive programs or Adobe Illustrator to do designs, you can just show them that you could do something almost equivalent in something like Excel. Here I'm just going to resize a couple of the icons to fit better in terms of spacing. Shove that one over a little bit, and then knock that one down. Looks like it's going to be tight there with trending, so I'm going to maybe have to move trending there, match it up with the 7 above it. That should work. And again, and now I'm just spending the last minute or so here just fine-tuning spacing and sizing things. Now maybe the invite friends wasn't the right icon, so it was maybe missing a plus sign there, so just up the plus sign. And there you have it. So that's an example of where you can use something standard from Microsoft and then tweak it just a tad to make it fit until you do go back and design your own icon that fits the bill. So just like that, under 13 minutes, you have a fully mocked up homepage design in Microsoft Excel. So a couple of other things when you're done, just be sure that you've selected your print area properly. And I always add this buffer there just in case it kind of crops to the edge. So select your print area, and then once you've done that, click on the page setup and make sure it fits the size, because sometimes it will drag it across multiple pages. And you can preview it there, and you'll get a nice PDF, and you're all set and done. That's probably the fastest way you can get to a mock-up without using any complicated tools and everything that Microsoft Excel gives to you today. So that's my demo. If you have any questions about anything I just went over, post them below. And if you enjoyed the video, please like it and share it. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to learn more tips and tricks to everything about design. Thanks, and see you next time.
I've been feeling it since 1966.